So we're ready to go. We had a few technical things to take care of, but now we're okay. It's a go. I'd like to thank ACI once again for sponsoring the networking break. Very, very much appreciated by all of you, I'm sure. So now that we have all downloaded the app, right, I draw your attention to the schedule feature. Here you have the ability to rate each session as we progress through the agenda. This is a new feature at ICAO. It is very helpful for us to have your comments on how the sessions are going as to content and so on, to, of course, improve over the next few years. To do this, simply select the session and you'll see a series of stars displayed. Once you rate the session by selecting the number of stars, you'll have an opportunity to also include a few brief remarks. And I was told that you can also rate the MC. 5 stars, okay? No, just kidding. Thank you so much. Before we move on, pardon me, I would like to mention that in presenting speakers this week, I will highlight those items that enlighten us as to the reason for their participation in the symposium. If you would like additional background information, I invite you to consult the bios contained in your program. Session 1 this morning is entitled AVSEC Culture Beyond the Standards. We are all keenly aware that optimum aviation security rests on a well-trained, motivated, and professional workforce. It is also dependent on an effective security culture, one that permeates every level of an organization. To address this concept, we are delighted to welcome Mr. Bernard Lim, Director of International Relations and Security at the Ministry of Transport of Singapore. Bernard is extremely well-versed in aviation security matters. As Vice Chairman, then Chairman of the ICAO Aviation Security Panel, he was involved in such milestones as the establishment of ICAO's Comprehensive Aviation Security Strategy 2011-2016, the development of new ICAO standards and recommended practices for air cargo security, and many others. He has also been a member of numerous industry and international groups and panels dealing with aviation security. Bernard, we're looking forward to it. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Denny. So, ladies and gentlemen, first let me extend my warmest wishes to Dr. Fang Liu, the Secretary General of the ICAO, and to all the officers of the ICAO who have worked tirelessly with many others to put this symposium together. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, friends, it is indeed an honor for me to be here this morning at the ICAO's Aviation Security Symposium. I would first like to extend my appreciation to the organizers of this symposium for inviting me to speak and moderate this session on security culture. It is certainly a privilege to be given this opportunity to touch on a topic that is of great importance to the whole rubric of aviation security, and one that I have great passion for. I'm also very happy to see so many aviation security experts here at this symposium, both regulators and industry, many of whom are my close friends and associates of many years in the global aviation security family. I only hope that in the course of giving this keynote address, I'm not preaching to the converted. Instead, I would like to bring all of us back to some fundamentals on why security culture continues to need our attention. Ladies and gentlemen, in the 21 years of my career and counting in dealing with aviation security issues, security culture has been a topic that never goes away. It is like a priceless piece of art. Its value depends on how well it can be preserved over prolonged periods of time, changing complexities, limited resources, and most of all, the will to keep it going. I believe all of us are familiar and recognize that striking a healthy balance to effectively meet the demands of aviation security, facilitation, efficiency, and cost effectiveness is a difficult task. This is compounded by global terrorists becoming more sophisticated and ingenious, including using tools of daily trade as weapons that can damage and destroy civil aviation operations. In addition, there continues to be grave concern over the insider threat and attacks and cyber attacks. We must give due recognition that the ICAO, states, regulators, industry, and all responsible stakeholders have been investing in new and increased security measures to protect aviation operations. These include the deployment of advanced security technology, new security procedures and processes. Beneath all these, however, it is the critical human factors that would determine effectiveness and success of all these efforts. Even with the best security policies, equipment, processes, collaboration amongst agencies and stakeholders, and even with all the resources available, if human factors are weak, even the best possible security measures will fail. To strengthen security human factors, security culture plays a critical role. Security culture refers to the attitude, belief, and behavior of all personnel within the organization, and by extension, the civil aviation community, towards the approach and effectiveness of security in our aviation system. It can be within the organization, amongst the personnel entrusted with security responsibilities, the whole airport community, the state, across the world, embracing and involving regulators and the many sectors of industry and the passengers. In my opinion, it is imperative that the establishment, development, and sustenance of positive aviation security culture starts with the top leadership and management. It is common that every organization, the top leaders and managers wield extreme influence on the organization's culture. They make the decisions on policies. They decide on investments. They decide on training. They set the key performance indicators as well as the scope of responsibilities, career development, bonuses, and the promotion of people that work for them. A positive or negative security culture will permeate down from the top through the rank and file. Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you, which worker down the food chain, including you and I, would challenge your superiors to push for greater security enhancements if they do not support or believe in it? This is at the risk of you being removed from your job and bypassed for the next promotion. This is the reality we face. I've personally witnessed positive and negative security culture in action. I've heard superiors saying that the last time a major security breach that took place was 10 years ago. So why are you asking for more resources? Then there are some organizations, instead of expeditiously fixing a breach, even a simple hole in your perimeter fence, would spend precious time arguing and debating who should pay for the cost. And before they know it, they're out of business. And there are regulators and stakeholders who, despite having security incidents occurred under their charge, continue to resist implementing the necessary measures mandated under Annex 17 of the Chicago Convention. On the positive side, I've experienced some success in spreading awareness and the need for positive security culture. Now, many years ago, I was in the team that was managing security awareness training and briefings to airport workers who were not handling security. For example, shopkeepers, taxi drivers, airport restaurant and check-in staff. And one day I was challenged by a shopkeeper who said security was not their responsibility. It's the responsibility of the security and the security authorities and the regulators. And he would not be sending his 2 shop assistants to our security awareness training. So, in return, I asked him, what if there was an unattended bag outside your shop and your shopkeepers wouldn't even touch it because it's not their problem? And the bag contains an explosive and it goes off. It tears your shop down and it kills both your assistants. And then what will you say to their families who would know that if there was anything that could be done to prevent it, it would have been neutralized quickly? The conversation ended there. 2 weeks later, he and his 2 assistants were in the security awareness training program. It is an issue of responsibility. Today, we are great friends and we continue to speak on this together. To conclude, let me put some thoughts for you to consider when looking at this issue of security culture. First, can we turn skeptical views that security is a chore and a cost to organizations into one that says good security is a competitive advantage? 2, can organizations, leaders and workers develop security as part of their key functions and responsibility, as they would do for the Human Resources Department, Finance Department, Sales Department, Operations and Safety Departments? 3, can we promote the approach of just culture in aviation security, where personnel are willing and unafraid to report on their own that security breaches or mistakes have been made, without fear of being punished, so that weaknesses and gaps can be effectively identified and addressed? 4, can we promote security culture across all stakeholders in our community, which recognizes that everyone has a part to play and to make a positive difference, just by being alert, vigilant, look out for suspicious people and articles, and other gaps that they can see? This attitude of security being part of their daily work in whatever they do to protect the community and operations is something I would advocate. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your attention. I will turn over to next session, Activity 1, Security Culture, to Ms. Vicky Reeder, a very good friend of mine and an aviation security expert that I enjoy working with. She'll be moderating the next activity. But I shall return, because later in the morning, I will be torturing you further with my voice when I moderate the next panel of experts. Stay tuned. Over to you, Danny.
Well, thank you, Bernard. I was going to thank you profusely, but you stole my thunder. I was going to say you're coming back. I still have to decide whether you will come back. No, we look forward to seeing you. Thank you for this very inspiring presentation. And building on your